This is the country of Algeria, and this is the country of Morocco. The border that these two countries share has been closed for more than 30 years. Also, movement between them has stopped, flights are not operating, and there are no trade or diplomatic relations between them. The conflict between these two countries has continued for 50 years. The area they are disputing is a foreign territory known as Western Desert. So, what is this desert land that is so important to Morocco and Algeria? How did this conflict start? And what is the current situation of the land known as Western Desert? We will see all these questions. Our documentary today. My name is Abdikafi, and this is AK Documentary. Welcome to our viewers to today's program. Western Desert is a very remote land, located where the Atlantic Ocean meets the northern desert of the African continent. This land has long been inhabited by people consisting of Arabs of North Africa and Berbers, who are generally known by the name Sahrawis. They are people known for resilience in war and strong adherence to their traditional culture. In 1884, when Europeans divided the African continent, the Spanish colonizers invaded this land. They made it part of their territory and named it the province of Spanish Desert. When Morocco officially became a country in 1956, it began to inform the international community that Western Desert was missing from its territory and that its borders extended to the Atlantic coast. In the 1960s, when European colonial powers left the African lands they had colonized, Spain remained in control of Western Desert. This forced the local people to take up arms and form a movement called the Polisario. This movement sought support from Arab countries, especially those neighboring Western Sahara in the Maghreb or North Africa. However, it returned empty-handed from all countries except Algeria, which provided weapons and training camps. Pressure from the United Nations forced Spain to prepare to withdraw from the territory. This created hope among the people of Western Desert that they would gain independence and control their own land. However, Morocco and Mauritania each claimed the territory for themselves. Morocco went further than Mauritania and claimed that Spain had originally taken the land from Morocco. Morocco then organized a protest unlike anything the world had seen before. The king of Morocco called on his people to move toward Western Desert to force Spain to hand over control of the territory. About 350,000 Moroccans moved toward the border, waiting for the king's order to enter Western Desert and confront Spanish rule. When the situation reached this point, Spain called for negotiations. Morocco and Mauritania were invited to the negotiating table, and an agreement was signed in Madrid. The agreement consisted of 9 articles, the most important being that Western Desert will be divided between Morocco and Mauritania. The people of Western Desert were given no role in this agreement, even though they had resisted Spanish colonial rule. Each country sent its army to the areas they had agreed upon. The Sahrawi resistance movement strongly opposed this decision. Among the Arab countries, only Algeria openly rejected the agreement and clearly showed its support for the Polisario Front. Algeria wanted Western Desert to be returned to its rightful owners, the local people, from whom it had been taken during Spanish colonial rule. In 1976, Spain, facing serious internal problems and external pressure, suddenly withdrew from Western Desert without completing the agreement to divide the land between Morocco and Mauritania. As a result, armed conflicts began involving Morocco, Mauritania, and the Polisario Front. The Polisario Front then declared itself an independent state and established its own administration. Mauritania and Morocco have been engaged in fierce fighting with the Polisario Front, but each fought separately. Mauritania's view was closer to Morocco's about the land claim. When the situation became full war, Mauritania decided to leave the conflict and stop fighting over the land. In 1979, Mauritania announced that it had stopped its claim over Western Desert and withdrew its soldiers. This gave Morocco the chance to take control of almost 80% of Western Desert. Morocco then became alone in the war against the Polisario Front, and an armed conflict began. The fighting continued until 1991. In that year, both sides signed a ceasefire with help from the United Nations. Morocco then treated Western Desert as part of its own country and strongly opposed anyone who disagreed. Because of this issue, Morocco left the African Union in 1984. This happened after the Union gave membership to the Polisario government. Morocco stayed outside the African Union for 33 years. Many countries also ended diplomatic relations with Morocco after they supported the Sahrawi administration. The country that Morocco had the biggest conflict with over Western Desert was its neighbor, Algeria. Before this conflict, Morocco and Algeria already had land disputes. Algeria's full support for the Polisario Front made the situation worse. Morocco could not accept this, and relations between the two countries became very bad. Algeria strongly criticized Morocco's control of most of Western Sahara. A serious diplomatic conflict started between the two countries. Algeria expelled Moroccan citizens from its land, and open hostility returned. Each new Algerian government continued the conflict with Morocco. In 1994, a new serious incident happened in the city of Marrakesh. Planned attacks and killings took place to create fear and insecurity. Several people were killed. The king of Morocco at that time, Hassan II, accused Algerian intelligence of carrying out the attacks. Algeria rejected the accusations and closed movement between the two countries, especially the land border. The land border, about 1,500 kilometers long, was closed. More accusations followed, diplomatic relations stopped, and the relationship between the two countries became worse. The Western Desert conflict is not only about land, but also about politics, security, and long-lasting regional tensions. The wars, ceasefires, and diplomatic disputes between Morocco, the Polisario Front, and Algeria show how long this conflict has continued. Even though a ceasefire exists, a permanent solution has not been reached. The future of Western Desert depends on dialogue, fairness, and the role of the international community. Until then, this conflict will remain one of the most disputed issues in Africa.